प्रेमामृतां वनिधि तत्त्वातो नमस्ते समण्डलपति शनि सदा तुच्छम भूत्वा दीनगणेश करुणया कोऽपि न कण्ठासितौ तत्त्वातो नमस्ते समण्डलपति शनि सदा तुच्छम भूत्वा दीनगणेश करुणया कोऽपि न कण्ठासितौ गोपी भावरसामृताभिलहरी कल्लोलमग्नोन्मुहो वन्दे रूपसनातन रघुजगं श्रीजीवगोपालकौ कृष्ण कीर्तन कानन तन परं प्रेमामृतां वनिधि कृष्ण कीर्तन कानन तन परं प्रेमामृतां वनिधि कुजत कोकिलहं संसार सुगण कीर्णमयूराकुले नानारत्ननिबद्धमूलविटप श्रीयुक्त वृंदावने राधा कृष्ण महर्निशं प्रव्रजतौ जीवार्थदौ जौ बुधा वन्दे रूप सनातन रघुजगं श्रीजीव गोपालकं कृष्ण कीर्तन गानन तन परं प्रेमामृतां वनिधि धीराधीर जनप्रियं प्रियकरं निर्मत्सरं पूजितं
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the devotees of the Hare Krishna Society, the membership, and the Prabhupada Disciples Association. We're very happy to be here this morning. I was looking at the screen before the broadcast began, and I was thinking, I'm glad I'm here because someday I won't. This is the way of the world. For one who is born, death is certain. For one who has died, birth is certain. So this is an opportunity for us to render devotional service to our spiritual master, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, who brought to America a revolutionary teaching that the Americans and the Canadians and practically all people throughout the world did not have. And what is that? That we are not the body. We are the spirit soul. Jivera Swarupa Hoy, Krishnera Nitya Dasa. This is our teaching, that we are actually the eternal servants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this was taught by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Yuga avatar of this age. And this understanding of one's identity is far beyond the understanding of identity of people that live, especially in these countries, these opulent countries of Canada and America. Because the people here are so enamored by their birth. I am a Canadian. Oh, well, a Canadian birth is a very auspicious birth. For example, here in this country, we have free medical service. That means that you go to the hospital. I've been to the hospital at various times throughout my life. You get all kinds of treatment, which is very expensive, but you never get a bill in the mail. You go to the hospital, it's thousands of dollars even to just have a minor treatment, but you get no bill. Not even a letter. They just pay it from the coffers of the government. So we have free dental now, free dental work, free medical services. And not only that, we also get checks in the mail. Yeah. Everybody today, there's a big announcement. Oh, everybody's going to get a $200 check for, if you filed your income tax last year, you'll get a $200 check. So this is not common in other countries. This is a very unique situation. For example, if you live in Africa, you get nothing. If you live in some of these Caribbean countries, you get nothing. You have to struggle. I remember when we first went to India, Yaśodā-nandana, it was really startling to see how people were treated in these countries. I still remember vividly going across over to Navadvip, and then when you get off the boat, it was these ancient boats with the pole, you'd see people lined up on the shore there as you walk in with no legs, with no capacity to do anything, and have no money. They're just sitting there. Now that doesn't happen here. So people are very enamored, Nilesh, by their identity, false identity, designation. Like, for example, right now in the news, everything is all about this inauguration of Donald Trump on Monday as the President of the United States. Wow. Here today, gone tomorrow. Jimmy Carter just passed away. Here today, gone tomorrow. So he's propagating a false identity of the living entity. It's a huge campaign of misidentification that you are an American. This is a big mistake. His whole campaign was make America great again. It all stems, Nilesh, from what is called nationalism. That's what countries do when they want to go to war. I'm an American, I'm a German, I'm a Japanese. We're none of these things. This is a huge mistake. Some people may object. Well, I love being an American or a Canadian. We are not these things. This material body is a place of ignorance. That's what it is. And Prabhupada came to teach us this simple understanding that we are the spirit soul within the body. And this nationalism is a cause of war. It is. That was this nationalistic spirit. Now in Canada and America and Mexico, there's a war. Mr. Trump is waging an economic war. Oh yeah, an economic war. And the threat is that tens of thousands of people will lose their jobs and they'll become impoverished. Do the Americans care that if the Canadians lose their jobs? Do they care? No, they only care about themselves. This is based on greed, on lust. It drives the grand illusion. Economic breakdown is fueled by corruption. And this is the material world. And people that live in this consciousness, they are sick. I saw a video of Mr. Trump the other day with my son. He's quite a humorist. He's very funny in a way. He was calling people sick. Shifty, Adam Shifty. Hillary Clinton, criticizing her and this and that and the other thing. Very funny. But at the same time, these people are only interested in themselves, personal success. We're going to make our country successful at the expense of everyone else. And this is going on. And this is illusion. We are all parts and parcels of Krishna. We are all eternal servants of the Supreme Lord. We're not these designations, but people think, I'm Indian. Oh, I am so smart. I'm in India. Oh yeah. I was born in India. I'm a devotee. Okay. Well, this designation doesn't make you some kind of brilliant scholar. No. The brilliance of a devotee is that he has a bona fide spiritual master. And that is the success of an individual in terms of his spiritual emancipation, his association with the pure devotee, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. So these designations, these are false. And this is a very dangerous state of mind for people, because nationalism, it becomes a disease, Nilesh. It becomes a disease, and then the people become infected with it, and then they want to go ahead and assert their position. We are Americans. Yeah. So what? This is all sickness. We are not that. We're not East Indians. We're not Canadians. We're not Americans. We are the humble servants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And without this mentality, there will be war. Nowadays, the war's vibration is circulating. It was amazing for some time, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, how the Cold War had disappeared. And people started to see that we were all sons and daughters of the Supreme Lord. You know, I have a good friend from Russia who lived with me, Abhimanyu, for some time, over a couple of years here. And he was an officer in the Russian Navy. And he was very active as a preacher. Years ago, he opened up 15 temples in Russia. And I got a chance to associate with him because he was living here, of course. And Very interesting guy. And people from Russia, they're quite fascinated with American culture, American movies, American, British and American music. He loved the fact that I was also somewhat of a musician and had a history in the music industry. And he was much more fascinated with it, knowing about Jimi Hendrix and The Who and all these different bands. I was always remarkably surprised to see how they were so fascinated with American culture. And then, but you realize that we were all people. We're all brothers and sisters of the Supreme Lord. And this idea of attacking each other, of killing each other, this is a great illusion. Nowadays, they're talking about this truce in Israel with the Hamas. What a tragedy, very tragic situation. So many tens of thousands of people being injured and killed. And it's just all reflection of the bodily concept of life, which Prabhupada came to teach us, to elevate us out of. And we hope that our members work in this understanding that we are all brothers and sisters, God brothers and God sisters, and that we are also meant to work together to dispel this illusion, this sickness that exists in this world. Some people may not like it. Sometimes I speak with this sort of determination. But this is something that we had back in the day, and we're still, by Krishna's grace, propagating this truth to others according to how Prabhupada taught us, not changed. Nowadays, I'm not going to talk about it right now, Yaśodā-nandana, but I got a comment from Malati because I made a comment about them attending some kind of Indian temple. And I said, I think these people are Mayavadi. Oh, yes, but they can help us. I said, yes. The only thing they're helping is to you to promote your compromised position. This compromise to get membership, to get followers, to get money. And in this way, think you're going to be successful. All bodily conception of life. So, all glories to Prabhupada and the Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Prabhupada came from India and started the movement in 1965. As you know, he came in September 19th, 1965. And I wanted to go to the diaries today. We're going to go to the diaries today. It's such an inspiration. Rupesh Prabhu, or Rupa Goswami, excuse me. I'm going to show the first picture. Look at this picture here. This is Prabhupada coming out. This is where he was staying in New York at 26 2nd Avenue in his apartment. So he's coming out the back step. And he'd go across to the storefront where the movement was starting to expand from his residence where he was staying before, all of that difficulty in those offices. He was living in the office, and then he was in the Bowery, and he was living with people that he was afraid of, that were drug addicts, that were stealing from him. And here we go, Thursday, September 1st, 1966. So here I'm going to show first, I'm going to fix these photographs later. But here you're seeing, now Prabhupada's doing a lot of less comment here in these pages because his routine was changing as he saw himself develop. But he's still taking care to track the money. So here it is, the expenses, the income, and milk was $1, that was expenditures. Well, he's got 2 lines. income and expense statement. Miss Carol was $10. The balance for the book BF, I've got to remember what that is. I guess it's a book fund. $153.48. Income was $10, so $163.48. Expenditures was $1, and the balance was $162.48. Mr. Gardner wants to increase the rent to $71 odds. I think that means odds plus cents. He came and got it signed by me before the trustees. So Prabhupada's starting to use the technical, legal aspects of running a charity now. With these, he's stating that he has people that are working with him, trustees. These people really didn't know what they were doing, but he was engaging them, and that was the best thing. He came and got it signed by me. I think it is not just. So Prabhupada's just being mindful. And I want to show you the picture. Go ahead, please, the next slide. Yeah. Here, I want you to see the handwriting. Now, why, Vishwakarma, are you showing this handwriting? This is to inspire you, everyone, to see how diligent Prabhupada was keeping track of what he was doing. And these strokes with the pen, this is also a very auspicious visual experience for you, for us, to see his handwriting and to put ourselves connected to Srila Prabhupada in a very personal way. Huh? Hey, Tom? Just see it. This is reality. All this other stuff, this is illusion. September 1st, 1966. Okay, flip over the page, please. Now, the idea, I took these pictures. There's nothing go to the next page, please. Rupesh, or Rupa Goswami. No, not that. I don't know. No, not there, back. Anyway, forget it. These other pictures are demonstrating how Prabhupada was monitoring the expenses and income. So September 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. No notes. And again, it goes September 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th. And now we're here at September 14th, 1966. And we're going to put something up about Allen Ginsberg, who was somewhat of a famous poet. I think he's gone now, left this body. But Prabhupada encountered him. He was like a semi-celebrity back then. Mr. Howard Harnick, psychiatrist, one set of books, Bhagavatam through Keith Ham, the infamous Kirtananda, Sri Edward Karnik, care of Einstein Psychiatric Institute, and Dr. Harnack is mentioned below in an excerpt from an interview with Allen Ginsberg for Srila Prabhupada's so-called biography. Allen Ginsberg, Peter Orlowski and I met Harnack at the group that I knew called the GAP group for the advancement of psychiatry. We had been there to their conference. We had invited us, they had invited us to talk about hippies. Prabhupada said, I'm making hippies happies. And they wanted to know what was the generation thing. It was like a breakthrough between the poets and the new culture and the psychiatry group. So we were given a big poetry reading and made friends with a lot of them. And we sang Hare Krishna with them, the whole thing. So go down. I've got the next page, or the next section, Rupesh. Over the years, Harnack and I developed a pleasant friendship and worked out an arrangement that if I knew anybody particularly gifted among the young generation that was getting screwed up in the lower side, east side of New York for drugs or bus or madness or whatever, that rather than they have them go through the whole horror mill of Bellevue, that's a mental hospital. I guess Keith Amway put him in a mental hospital. I guess that was a premonition. And not know what to do to put them in touch with him and the Einstein Clinic so he could intervene to make sure that they had a safe refuge. When Kirtananda's case came, that's Keith Am, yeah, he was in Bellevue. Up at the time, he wasn't the only one in trouble. There were a lot of hippies going through the same problem, wandering the streets, flipping out. It was a question of finding a psychiatrist who had a little political clout in the New York psychiatric community among the hospitals, whom we could talk to and explain what the situation was, that this guy was a devotee practicing traditional Vaishnavism. And that's why he looked so funny in the American context. But it was all right. He wasn't crazy. He was just doing this, his thing. Harnack was good. He picked up fast and could intervene. So this was a situation that they were running into. People thought we were a bit strange, wearing these robes and shaved heads. Nowadays, shaving your head is part of a style, not long hair. I guess long hair is a style now too. When I see people with long hair, I think about the 60s. But nonetheless, and Prabhupada encouraged us to keep our hair short. We'll go forward here. We'll read one more section. This was a poem by Hayagriva. It gives you a feeling of the attitude or the mentality of the membership back then that are really appreciating Prabhupada's transcendental position. Second Avenue Samadhi, standing outside the storefront of Swamiji's Society for Krishna Consciousness. I look up and down Manhattan's Second Avenue at derelicts, Puerto Ricans, and sundry fruitive laborers and wonder. Hare Krishna, I think, and look at the Cosmos Parcels Express Corporation sign across the way, like the very cosmos itself, in its white and green aggression. And at the Gonzales Funeral Home and Witzner Brothers Memorial Corporation's heavy tombstones broadcasting death all around, to all. Now, this description is where Prabhupada was operating the 26th Second Avenue storefront. And the yellow relief for exhausted karmis, poor fruitive laborers. So Hayagriva was a professor. He's giving his understanding of the philosophy as it's being taught by him to him by Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, I think, and walked down the sidewalk past the revolving red, white, and blue mobile gasoline sign, buzzing and ringing bells of gas pumps, feeding the dumb steel chariots of Detroit. So he's giving his realization. Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, I think, wondering what Swamiji, what Srila Prabhupada must think of God bless America, make America great again, and walk up and down the sidewalk, silent cigarette butts that stare up like little crushed universes of capitalism. Second, and think, Hare Krishna, on the corner of Houston Street and 2nd Avenue, where I stand a long time thinking Hare Krishna, hands in my pockets and watching the dying sunlight fade over buildings and off for far silver parapets of the Brooklyn Bridge that reaches over the river like an altar to Krishna. So this is a poem by him, and I think I have one more picture I showed of Prabhupada. Go to that next slide. Look at that. And that's Prabhupada chanting in Golden Gate Park in San Francisco in 1967. He mentions by his Christian name, Howard, on September 17th. So Prabhupada hasn't started to chant in the streets yet, but he's moving towards that, propagating this Harinam Sankirtan to the American public. And this is the history that we should all really study, which we are. We're the only group that really reads the diaries and makes them exposed to other people in this at this time and place. So I hope you enjoy these sections. I know we get lots of compliments about them. And we'll move forward with the reading and discussion of Srimad Bhagavatam with our wonderful godbrother and really a very committed Prabhupada disciple. I hope everybody understands this. And this type of commitment is very valuable in everyone's opportunity to get association with bona fide disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Sai. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta ki jai. Sri Radha Krishna Gaur Gopinath Sam Kund Radha Kund Giridhardhan ki jai. Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Navadvip Dham ki jai. Swami Bhaktivedanta ki jai. Ganga Mai ki jai. Jamuna Mai ki jai. Tulasi Devi ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Swami Bhaktivedanta ki jai. All glories to the Asmi. Thank you very much.
Vaya. Oh. Can you excuse me because the speaker, my desktop speaker is not working properly. Now, oh my Lord, Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Narayanam namaskritya. Narayanam namaskritya. Naram cheva narottamam. Naram cheva narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet. Tato Jayam Mudirayet. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavatam and Srimad Bhagavad-gītā, after offering respectful obeisances to the personality of Godhead Narayana. 2. To the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being. 3. To the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning. Then 4. To Srila Vyasadeva, the author, from Srimad Bhagavatam 1-4. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Srimad Bhagavad-gītā. As we do every week, we will recite a few Sanskrit verses which were originally given by Srila Prabhupada himself when he started to lecture on Bhagavad-gītā in New York City in 1966. Now, kindly forgive me today, I don't have access to my desktop because the sound is off on the desktop. I'm reading this from the my cell phone. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Anbitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam Scha E Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpati Gopeshu Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostuti Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namah Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Bhagavad-gītā. This reading is being conducted on the basis of the original 1972 Macmillan edition Bhagavad-gītā, the non-edited, non-interpolated, non-adulterated version of the Bhagavad-gītā. All synonyms, translations, and purports by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, Founder-Ācārya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. We are reading today from chapter 12, text number 10. Abhyase api samartosi matkarma paramo bhava madartam api karmani kurvam siddhim avapsyasi. Abhyase, in the practice of, api, even, asamartaha, unable, asi, you are, matkarma, my work, paramaha, supreme, bhava, you become, matartam, for my sake, api, even though, karmani, what? Kurvan, performing, siddhim, perfection, avapsyasi, achieve, translation by Srila Prabhupada. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me, because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. One who is not able even to practice the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga under the guidance of a spiritual master can still be drawn to this perfectional stage by working for the Supreme Lord. How to do this work has already been explained in the 55th verse of the 11th chapter. One should be sympathetic to the propagation of Krishna consciousness. There are many devotees who are engaged in the propagation of Krishna consciousness and they require help. So even if one cannot directly practice the regulated principles of Bhakti Yoga, he can try to help such work. Every endeavor requires land, capital, organization, and labor. Just as in business, one requires a place to stay, some capital to use, some labor, and some organization to expand. So the same is required in the service of Krishna. The only difference is that in materialism, one works for sense gratification. The same work, however, can be performed for the satisfaction of Krishna, and that is spiritual activity. If one has sufficient money, bring it up, please. If one has sufficient money, he can help in building an office or temple for propagating Krishna consciousness, or he can help with publications. There are various fields of activity, and one should be interested in such activities. If one cannot sacrifice the result of such activities, the same person can still sacrifice some percentage to propagate Krishna consciousness. This voluntary service to the cause of Krishna consciousness will help one to rise to a higher state of love for God, whereupon one becomes perfect. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshuranmiritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhaktivedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Bhagavad-vandanam khadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadatehi Visheshataham Adadana Strinam Danteridam Yache Punaha Punaha Srimaduru Papadam Bhoja Dhulisyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavato Smyaham Sadadaso Asmi Sarvata Tat Kripa Pikshako Nityam Tat Preshta Sat Karomishvam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this particular verse from Bhagavad-gītā is very important. We can see that Lord Krishna has given various instructions in this chapter explaining the superiority of Vaishnavism over impersonalism. To concentrate on the abstract, the impersonal Brahman is not easy. But to engage the senses in practical devotional service is the recommendation of Lord Krishna himself and all the great acharyas. Even Adi Shankaracharya, who is considered the foremost acharya of the Mayavadis, the impersonalists, he recommended that people should worship Krishna. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam Mudhamate. Samprapte sannite kare, nahi rakshati dukrin karane. So when he wrote various pieces of Vaishnava literature, such as Jagannatha-astakam, Yamuna-astakam, Bhaja Govindam, because this is the real intent of the Bhagavad-gītā, to bring people to the point of becoming devotees of Krishna, to engage in Krishna's service. I remember last year I went to Bhakta Ran Singh in his temple in Sacramento, and I was amazed at the Gaudiya deities, the effulgence of the deities He had beautiful pictures in his temple room, all kinds of books, and different devotees and friends and relatives came there for the program, and it was very enlivening. This is the practical application of what it says in the Bhagavad-gītā to practice bhakti yoga. It is not complicated. It is not difficult. Anybody can do this. Srila Prabhupada, many times in his books, many places in his books, has explained this basic fundamental principle: to engage in kirtan, chanting the name of Krishna, the beautiful Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and reading Bhagavad-gītā, reading Srimad Bhagavatam, and offering foodstuff to Krishna. Everyone is familiar with the Bhagavad-gītā, where Krishna explains, Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati. Somebody may say, well, I don't know. I am living with wife and family and friends, and I go to work, so many different duties you have. But Krishna makes it fairly simple. Patram pushpam phalam toyam. Offer me a leaf, a flower, a fruit, some water. Everybody has to eat. Everybody has to eat foodstuff every day. Oh, very nice. Thank you, whoever put that up there. Either Rupa Goswami or Nilesh Prabhu. Prabhupada translates, if one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, fruit, water, I will accept it. Prabhupada explains in the purport, here Lord Krishna, having established that he is the only enjoyer, the primeval Lord and the real object of all sacrificial offerings, reveals what types of sacrifices he desires to be offered. If one wishes to engage in devotional service to the Supreme in order to be purified and to reach the goal of life, the transcendental loving service of God, then he should find out what the Lord desires of him. One who loves Krishna will give him whatever he wants, and he avoids offering anything which is undesirable or unasked for. Thus, meat, fish, and eggs should not be offered to Krishna. If he desired such things as offerings, he would have said so. Instead, he clearly requests that a leaf, fruit, flowers, and water be given to him. And he says of this offering, I will accept it. Therefore, we should understand that he will not accept meat, fish, and eggs. Vegetable, grains, fruits, milk, and water are the proper foods for human beings and are prescribed by Lord Krishna himself. Whatever else we eat cannot be offered to him, since he will not accept it. Thus, we cannot be acting on the level of loving devotion if we offer such foods. Now, this is a very important point. We see in human society, just like if you live in a city and you go to the supermarket or the market to buy food, there's so many different varieties of food. Some of them are already prepared, all different kinds of box foods, packaged foods, all different kinds of non-offerable foods. But Krishna makes it simple, very simple. The point is to offer it some love and devotion. And it should be offered according to the standard that Srila Prabhupada has prescribed. There's an interesting story in the Mahabharata how Vidura had invited Krishna to his house. And he became so excited that he wanted to offer Krishna some very nice foodstuff, because Krishna had gone to Duryodhana's palace, and Duryodhana had prepared a very large feast for Krishna. And Krishna did not accept Duryodhana's offering. But when Vidura When Lord Krishna went to Vidura's house, Vidura was so excited that he offered Krishna a banana peel and he threw the banana away. And Krishna ate the banana peel. Why? Why would Krishna eat the banana peel? Because he knew that Vidura was offering this with complete selfless devotion. That is the point. This is what Srila Prabhupada has brought. Our philosophy is not simply a bookworm philosophy of just reading a book, but it is a practical philosophy. Oh, beautiful. Look at this. Somebody found the conversation. Prabhupada, you should not do that. The perfection is whatever is offered to Krishna, you should accept. That is perfection. You cannot say, I like this, I don't like this. So long as you make such discrimination, that means you have not appreciated what prasad is. A devotee. What if there is someone, speaking of likes and dislikes, say someone is preparing some prasad. Srila Prabhupada, no disliking, no liking. Whatever Krishna likes, that's all right. Devotee, yes. But say someone prepares something like some prasad for Krishna, but he does not make it so good that it is Srila Prabhupada. No. If made sincerely with devotion, then Krishna will like it. Just like Vidura. Vidura was feeding Krishna bananas, but he was so absorbed in thought that he was throwing away the real bananas and he was giving Krishna the skin. And Krishna was eating. I'll laugh. Krishna knew that he was giving in devotion. And Krishna can eat anything provided there is devotion. It does not matter whether it is materially tasteful or not. Similarly, a devotee also takes Krishna prasada. Whether it is materially tasteful or not, we should accept everything. Devotee, but if the devotion is not there, like in India, Prabhupada, if devotion is not there, he does not like any food, either tasteful or not tasteful. He does not accept it. So this is a very important point, because somebody may say, well, I don't know Sanskrit or Bengali, I don't know the philosophy so well. That doesn't matter. The point is to offer the items to Krishna with love and devotion. Everybody can do that. That is not complicated. It is not difficult, but it should be done according to the standard given by the Acharya Srila Prabhupada. Now, as part of this discussion here, many times we've had discussions about the standards that are of offering, which has been practiced in a different institutions. And the reason we've addressed this is we know that during Prabhupada's manifested presence, let us say between 1965 and 1977, Prabhupada himself personally established and instituted a standard to offer the bhoga to Lord Krishna, so it becomes prasadam. That standard was very simple. Of course, there's always the element, the principal element of devotion, of love and devotion. Prabhupada recommended that you offer to the spiritual master first, Namo Vishnu Padaya, Namaste Saraswati 3 times, Namo Mahabhadanyaya 3 times, Namo Brahmanya Devaya 3 times. And then you leave the bhoga there for 10-15 minutes, Krishna will eat, and then you can have. So the point is that there is a very simple standard established by Srila Prabhupada. Now, some other persons have developed a new standard, a different standard. We at the Prabhupada Disciples Association, Hare Krishna Society, we do not accept these new concocted standards. We accept the original standard established by Srila Prabhupada. This is what is followed by all the serious followers, the serious devotees. And even if one is not an initiated devotee, anybody can practice this. It is not complicated. It is not difficult. If one is an initiated devotee, he should follow that standard. Now, those who think they know better than Prabhupada, who concocted some new interpretations of how to offer, that is very dangerous. You know, there is a Prasadam story that I was told in the early 1970s when Prabhupada was in India. He used to be invited by different life members and different people, who many of whom became life members. And on one such occasions, Prabhupada told the devotees not to say anything about the food stuff that was being offered, because these people did not know the complete standard. Prabhupada would go to their houses, they would have a kirtan, Prabhupada would speak on Bhagavad-gītā or Srimad Bhagavatam. Then these people who had cooked, life members, vegetarian food stuff, they would offer it to Prabhupada and the devotees. So on one such occasion, Prabhupada's servant told Prabhupada, he was sitting beside His Divine Grace, and he told Prabhupada, he whispered, that there seems to be some onions in here. And Prabhupada stared at him, he said, don't say anything, you just eat it. If you do not eat their food that they have offered, out of their kindness and devotion, they will feel insulted. Just eat it and don't say anything. Of course, that is not the standard that Prabhupada established to offer to the deities, but Prabhupada was very careful in dealing with members of the public, life members, especially in India. On another occasion, in South India, in Hyderabad, in Andhra Pradesh, there was a gentleman who had donated land for the ISKCON temple. His name is Mr. Pulla Reddy, very influential person, very well-known person in the city. So he invited all the devotees for prasadam. So we all went there, and the South Indians, especially in Andhra Pradesh, they cook different than North Indians. They're very different than the Marwaris, the Gujaratis, the Bengalis. So they brought everybody these massive ladus, the size of a very large grapefruit or pomelo. I mean, this thing probably would fit in a very large, at least 6 inches of width. And this thing was very fragrant. Anybody who's been to Tirupati in South India, they sell these kind of ladus. So devotees were looking at this like, what do we do with this thing? And Prabhupada starts to take the laddu, he's breaking it apart, he's eating the laddu, and we're looking at Prabhupada, and Prabhupada says, eat it. That's how they do over here. They start with sweets. Because in North India, in many places, they give you some rice and vegetable and dal and chapatis and puris. In Andhra Pradesh, in that area, they were doing things different. And Srila Prabhupada, basically his point was, just do as the locals do. Just take it. And the life member was very happy. As a matter of fact, he brought his entire family. It must have been 25 or 30 people, all these ladies in saris and bangles and these men with fancy dhotis. They all came to see Srila Prabhupada. They gave him donation. They became life members. Because in India, they have a culture. They want to feed sadhus, brahmacharis, and sannyasis. They know this is a very pious activity which generates very future benefits for them. As a matter of fact, in some places, the Gujaratis are very expert at this. One time in Calcutta, the devotees had been invited to this very wealthy Gujarati life member. So the way they do this, they'll sit you and put a little table in front of you, and then they bring you some rice, and then they put some ghee on the rice, and they bring different vegetables and different spices and everything. So then they'll have somebody speaking to you, distract your attention, then somebody pours more and more dal, more and more ghee, more and more vegetable. By the time you look at your plate, there is this massive amount of prasadam there. And devotees would look at this and Prabhupada say, you eat. Don't question, just eat. But the point is, because this was offered with kindness and devotion, because most of the Gujaratis are worshippers of Balakrishna, Krishna holding a laddu. It's a little form of Krishna holding a laddu. So devotees would have nice kirtan like that. But the point on all these examples, because things were offered with devotion, Prabhupada accepted it. And Prabhupada taught us the standard. It is not complicated. It is not difficult. The standard that he established in all of his temples or in people's homes Oh, there's a nice letter from Rupa Goswami here, Prabhu. I can't see it. Let me see here if I can put the chat up. You put it on the chat? Okay, this is a nice letter from Srila Prabhupada on June 16th, 1969 to Arundhati. Regarding your question about offering prasadam, whatever is offered to the deity, actually it goes through the spiritual master. The spiritual master offers to Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Chaitanya offers it to Krishna. Then Radha Krishna eats, or Jagannath eats, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu eats, then the spiritual master eats, and it becomes Mahaprasadam. So when you offer something, you think like that, and chant the Gayatri mantra, and then everything is complete. At last, ring the bell, take out the plate, and wipe the place where the plate was kept. We'll leave it at that for now. Thank you very much. And my apology for my desktop sound system breaking down. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much. And this is a very interesting point about how prasadam is actually offered in the system of to Prabhupada, and then like that to Lord Chaitanya, and then to Krishna. Now, this happened, the change about offering prasadam was a result of Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu of this illicit or unauthorized guru system that came into the movement. And we have an example from our godbrother Krishna Katha in San Diego. He was telling me that he would go to the temple in San Diego to get prasadam for his mother. And when he went there, he would see the different pictures in the pujari room of the different gurus that were unauthorized but authorized by the ISKCON group. And what would happen was there have been periodically members of this organization would fall down, like this Bhaktivedanta Purna in Mayapur. He was a teacher, so he fell down. And what happened was the people would have to find a new guru. So there's this devotee in Atlanta who established the Krishna Life group, Bhaktivedanta, I think. But anyway, he would say, just take a new guru and just switch the picture and then start the offering like that again. So this was aware, people became aware of this, and this one devotee said, well, we'll change the system of offering, because with these gurus falling down, we'll just offer the food directly to Krishna. Oh, so a complete change from offering in disciplic succession to offering to Krishna directly. And here, Prabhupada in this letter is clarifying exactly how to do it and why. And this is the problem that's happened, that everything has been changed because of this bogus guru system where these people are not authorized to be in their roles, and they're simply pretending and posing, etc., to be in that role. So this is not good. Very bad situation. This is the case with everything, practically speaking. Everything has been changed, all the books, all the principles, all the philosophy, and that group has just drifted off into illusion. Just one more point before we proceed with our discussions. I thought this purport was very enlightening today and very practical in terms of explaining how we should conduct ourselves in terms of our own particular service throughout our life, is everything should be dovetailed in Krishna's service. And this will be the source of liberation. Let's go to the purport again of text 10. So even if one cannot directly practice the regulative principles of bhakti yoga, he can try to help such work. Every endeavor requires land, capital, organization, and labor. Just as in business, one requires a place to stay, capital, some labor. So the same is required in the service of Krishna. The only difference is that in materialism, one works for sense gratification. The same work, however, can be performed for the satisfaction of Krishna, and that is spiritual activity. If one has sufficient money, he can help in building an office or a temple for propagating Krishna consciousness, or he can help with publications. There are various fields of activity, and one should be interested in such activities. If one cannot sacrifice the results of activities, he can sacrifice some percentage to propagate Krishna consciousness. This voluntary service is the cause of Krishna consciousness and will help to rise to the higher state of love for God, wherein one becomes perfect. So Prabhupada gives the further example, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, of electricity. He says that you can take electricity, it can be used for either refrigeration or for heat or cooking. So you take the same material energy and you dovetail it in Krishna conscious service, it becomes a source of liberation. But if you take that same material energy and you dovetail it in the service of Maya, sense gratification, it becomes a means of bondage, of entanglement, karmic entanglement. So that's the simple principle of dovetailing everything in your life in Krishna's service. Like, for example, here at this ashram here, when you come here, you see, when you come in the room, instead of pictures of family and pictures of nature and pictures of a person's likes and dislikes, there are all pictures here of Krishna. So you go through the house here, there's pictures there, this and all of Prabhupada or Krishna or pastimes. So like that, you dovetail, you make your environment Krishna conscious, so when people come over, they see everything reminds them of Krishna. You can put up an altar in your house. This will remind people of Krishna. You can play the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. This will remind people of Krishna. Dovetail everything in your house in Krishna's service. This is very important. Do not be afraid. Do not be a closet devotee. Oh, I'm a devotee, but it's in the closet. No. You expose yourself to others that you're a devotee of Krishna. Real fame means to be known as a devotee of Krishna. Actually, I had a story that came in the Toronto Star about myself. I've had quite a few stories, I must say, over the years. But anyway, in the major medias. So within the story, I made a comment that I was a devotee of Krishna, and that affected everybody. Oh, that guy's a Hare Krishna. Yes. Well, most people don't like that. They get upset. You're saying who are you? Because everybody's in Maya, they don't want to hear that you're devoted to God. It's like a mortal sin when you bring it up. You know, like they even say, don't discuss politics or religion with anybody because you'll turn them off possibly. Well, that's okay. Personally, I don't mind it. Go away. You don't like it? There's the door. Get out. Because the only purpose of life is to be a devotee of Krishna. Everything else is total Maya, illusion. And this won't do any good for anybody, including yourself. So everything should be dovetailed in Krishna service. I recently recorded some music. I used to record all kinds of mundane music. I have lots of recordings, but they're useless. So I, as a professional bass player, musician of the past, I recorded some Hare Krishna mantra. Oh yeah. And this way I could dovetail what I do in Krishna service. This is the idea. Whatever you do, you dovetail it in Krishna service. Don't do it for any other reason. Otherwise, you'll just be subjected to the laws of karma, and you have to take birth after birth to suffer the reactions. This is simple philosophy. And in this way, you can make advancement in Krishna consciousness. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, if you could further articulate.
Well, there's very important issues that are discussed here, and I'm very appreciative of all the devotees who basically keep coming to these classes and participate in this very important project that we have. We keep talking about the Vani incarnation, Srila Prabhupada's teachings. Now, it's important that most devotees, are affected by the association they keep. This is well known. It's not difficult to understand. That is one of the reasons Srila Prabhupada told that devotees should read his books at least 1 or 2 hours per day, because we get our information and our conclusions from Srila Prabhupada, from his teachings. And that's why it's important to get the original, non-edited, non-interpolated, non-polluted books. Because just like we keep saying, nobody has the authority to change Prabhupada's words. They may claim, some people claim, well, so-and-so was nominated as editor. Well, Prabhupada made a lot of different statements. It was well known to all the devotees in this movement that Prabhupada said, do not change my words. Prabhupada complained about his god brothers, how they had changed the writings of his guru after his departure. In late 71, we went to the Bagh Bazar Gaudiya Math temple to purchase some Brahma Samhitas. So we went there and we gave a little donation, and they gave us some old Brahma Samhitas. When we came back to the temple and presented these books to Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada looked at the inside page and he said, yes, this book is bona fide. It was published during the presence of my Guru Maharaj, but do not buy anything. Do not get anything after his departure in 1937, because they started to change his writings. So this is exactly what has happened to our movement. In our movement, they started to change his writings while Prabhupada was still living with us. And Prabhupada was very unhappy about that. I see that Rupa Goswami Prabhu has said, exposing the book changes, extensive list of 50,000 major changes in Srila Prabhupada's original books. This is from our website. We recommend everybody to see this. There's a letter to a devotee named Urvasi Dasi on 25th of July, 1975, where Prabhupada says, be sure and read my books very carefully. Bhagavad-gītā, then Srimad Bhagavatam, then Chaitanya Charitamrita. You should read every day without fail and become fixed in our philosophy. If you are going to England, we have our temples there, so there should be no difficulty for you to remain in Krishna consciousness. This is a very important point for everybody. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Vishwakarma. Vishwakarma. Neil Shyama Prabhu, maybe you can ask your question.
I'm here.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hold on, Nilesh. It's very important that we hear carefully the instructions that are given in these classes so that we can practically apply them in our daily lives. This is not just a course where you practice and you could write an exam like that, but you're trying to practically implement the principles in this process. We'll move forward.
Prabhuji, your voice is very, very low. It's not coming clearly.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I had to run away for a second from the speaker. Okay, so let's go forward. Nilesh, go ahead. You have a question for Yaśodā.
Hare
Or
Krishna.
comment, whatever.
Yes. It is very interesting when you Vishwakarma Prabhu, you were talking about how we can remember Krishna. And this particular shloka comes to my mind. Sorry, not this one. Where Krishna talks about, give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Where did it go? Ooh. Yes, this one. Give me 1 second. Here. Rasoham apsu kaunteya prabhasmi shashi suryoyah pranava sarva vedeshu shabdake paurusham nrishu. O son of Kunti, Arjuna, I am the taste of water, the light of the sun and the moon, and the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras. I am the sound and ether and ability in man. I mean, imagine this particular shloka, it kind of encompasses everything which we do every single day. The moment we touch, we drink water, I am the taste of water, he says. We are out during the daytime, I'm the light of the sun, I'm the light of the moon. And in the end, no matter what you hear, I am the sound and ether and the ability in man. How many times do we appreciate somebody who has done some, very great physical deeds and things like that? We see Olympics, we see football games, we see, so many other sporting games where we are always appreciating somebody's physical ability. And that ability is Krishna. So we can dovetail almost anything and everything into Krishna consciousness. That was one point. And the second point which was coming about is, how Prabhupada is telling us that those who have some money should utilize that money in propagating Krishna consciousness. Now look at the difference between the wealthy during the Vedic times and the wealthy in today's Kali Yuga. If you see that in the Kali Yuga, everybody is just busy after sense gratification. So that means those who are rich are getting private planes, are getting yachts, super yachts. They do not have this understanding as to what is the purpose of this human existence and how I can help others, thereby helping Krishna and helping your own self in moving forward. So by building temples or helping in propagating Krishna consciousness, this not only helps others, but even helps the individual person as well. So look at the difference. So one is completely towards sense gratification, while the other one is all encompassing. Everybody profits in the process. Hare Krishna. I would love to know what Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu has to say.
I just wanted to make a comment before we move to Yaśodā. It's very interesting what you said, because this fire catastrophe in Los Angeles was very revealing. How people are so self-engrossed in their own personal false ego ambitions. And all these people, these movie stars, Nilesh, did you see the value of their houses? Like okay, we can have a house. Say you have a house, okay. You need some place to live. But here we have all these estates of Justin Bieber and Mel Gibson and the Kim Kardashian. How much were they worth, bro? How much? 50 million, 80 million, 100 million. Some of these people have car collections with $50, $100 million in cars. Make America great again. What? For what? So you can collect cars and have $100 million worth of cars in your garage, and then 1 minute it's burnt down? Karma. Very interesting. This karmic catastrophe should demonstrate to everybody that how useless this material world can be for the conditioned soul that thinks he's the body or she's the body. It's interesting to note, Nilesh, if you look at this fake news, it's no longer news, it's a beauty contest. That's what it's going on. If you look at these people that are on the screen, they're spending millions of dollars, the women especially, on plastic surgery constantly. Miss Michelle Obama, her face is all changed, whatever she is. I'm not sure if she's a he or she. I don't know. But her face is constantly changing. And all these other people, the plastic world of the modern society, the false identification with the self, nationalism. This is all complete corruption and so far away from the purpose of human life. It's pathetic. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, if you could carry on.
Well, you're raising some very important points. I just saw a report recently. One famous actor, his house burned down and he was just able to escape with his life. He didn't have time to bring everything out. He lost all of his jewels, all of his car collection, all of his watch collection, all of his assets, all kinds of money. And all is there left there is a pile of ashes. And they say that he lost the total of the property loss was about $120 million. So the point is that in this material world, at any given time, there can be catastrophe. It's not just in Los Angeles. It can happen anywhere, anytime. And this is the difficulty living in this world. There's so much endeavor to try to make this place a permanent place, a happy place, try to counteract the miseries of material existence. Unfortunately, people don't have the knowledge. The Bhagavad-gītā has a very interesting definition of intelligence. Prabhupada explains that intelligence means to understand the danger of janma, mrityu, jara, vyadi, birth, death, old age, and disease. It's called dukkha dosha, the fault, the misery of these conditions. This is called anudarshanam. This is called intelligence. Intelligence in the material world is often whether you can build bombs, airplanes, skyscrapers, and get a PhD. Well, that's nice. That's material intelligence. But real intelligence is to understand the non-permanence of this material world. This is beautiful. Thank you, Nilesh. Then here we go. Recently, one of our godbrothers has died. He was suffering that some glucose food was being supplied through the nose. And with that, what is called taken out, that is another suffering. Forcibly taken out the urine, cannot speak anything. So this is suffering. This is called samsmriti. We are so foolish that we do not know that this material existence is suffering. There's simply struggle for existence. Mana sastenindriyani prakriti stani karsati. Bhagavad-gītā 15:7. Simply a struggle. There is no happiness. But these foolish persons, they do not know that there is suffering and how to stop the suffering. That is real problem. Janmamritu jaravyadi dukkha dosha anudarshanam. Bhagavad-gītā chapter 13, text 9. Intelligent person should always keep in view that these are my real sufferings. Not that temporary, I've got some misunderstanding with some friend, or temporary, I do not get some nice food and therefore suffering. These sufferings are extra, But real suffering is this janma mrityu jara vyadi. And how to solve that problem? That is to engage in the process of bhakti yoga, so that at the time of death, one can remember Krishna. Krishna explains in chapter 4, text 9, Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tatvataha tyaktva deham punara janma naiti mam iti so Arjuna. That if one remembers, understands the true nature of my activities and my birth, then at the time of death, you will not have to come back and suffer again. So this is a very important point for anybody who's serious about solving the problems of life. By the way, I want to comment here. There's some beautiful pictures. There's Puranjan has a beautiful picture of Krishna. Neil Sharma has Lord Krishna and Arjuna behind. Rochi Samataji has Srila Prabhupada in India in a rice field. And Bhakta Pirangelo in Switzerland has little Krishna in the form of Damodar, very beautiful behind him. And Krishna Katha doesn't have his Bhagavatams there, but we do know that he has them very close to his heart. Here's the text I was talking about. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. Very important point. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Yes, and the fact of the matter is, people are bitten by the serpent of Maya, and they're unconscious. That's what the reality is. They do not know why they're here, where they're going, and what is the real purpose of human life. And today's purport, Prabhupada explains why, because they do nothing except try to promote themselves. Now, I'm a great person. I've got all this money. There's the only one shortage, Ruchisha Devidasi, in this world. It's not money. They have billions and billions, and nowadays the budgets are insane, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu. They talk about budgets of billions and billions and trillions of dollars. And people are living in shacks on the streets here in Canada. In tents. This world has gone crazy. People are insane. Someone would say, well, that's kind of radical, what you're saying. It's not radical, it's real. There's a reality here that people are missing. And even though it's right in front of us, we can't see it. Why? Because we're in Maya, illusion. The perception that we think that this is real when it isn't. That which is not. It's not real, Krishna Katha. This body is a broken vehicle for the conditioned soul. And as you get older, eventually you see it. You end up in a wheelchair. You end up with a cane. You end up in a hospital bed. That's where you end up. You don't end up running when you get older. You end up crawling. This material world is a place of ignorance. And it's a path to leading to death. Somehow or other we've fallen into this miserable ocean of material suffering. And of all the senses, the tongue is the most voracious and difficult to control. Yap, yap, yap on TV, on this social media. People talk. I call it the society of opinionators. Everybody's got an opinion. Mental speculation. That's the disease. Ron Singh, down in somewhere in Sacramento, I keep seeing it. Maybe you could share a few words today on today's discussion. Bhakta Ron Singh. I hope he's there.
Did he disappear?
He's here. I think Rupesh.
Oh, there he is. There he is.
He's just been muted.
In Oroville, California, Norton, California.
He's being muted by Rupesh.
Okay, we're here now. Srila Prabhupada writes in his Bhagavad-gītā that one must be pessimistic about living in the material world. Pessimistic means that we understand that the body is temporary and the soul is eternal. So if we make our whole civilization based on our body, everything will come to an end, you know. So whatever money we have, whatever, like today's class was, that everything should be engaged for Krishna service. And Srila Prabhupada even comments that this material world, best use of the bad bargain is the analogy that Srila Prabhupada uses, that this material body is already a bad bargain. But this human form of life, we can understand who we are, what is God consciousness, what is spiritual life. And Srila Prabhupada has very nicely put it in all his books. So we should encourage all the people of this, people who have the human body to inquire into the absolute truth that I'm not this body. Whatever wealth we have, whatever assets we have, we should engage in Krishna service or God's service. And then that, in this way, we can attain perfection. So not this, fires is a great example that we have seen that everything is lost within just few seconds. So similarly, our lives can be lost immediately. We can be driving and get into a car accident, or, just our body's heart failing or something happening to the body. So we should utilize our time very nicely for propagating Krishna consciousness. That's the highest good that we can do. And Srila Prabhupada's books give people who are interested Srila Prabhupada's books to talk about Krishna, invite them for prasadam. In this way, this is the best service that we can do. Thank you very much.
Yes, absolutely. And the fact is that we are bitten by the snake of Maya, and we are unconscious. But when you associate with the pure devotee and you hear the transcendental message of Krishna consciousness coming from his lotus mouth, then you have a cure for the illusion of material existence. Without it, you're sick. You're sick. Just like a medicine. If you don't take the medicine that's prescribed by the doctor, you won't get better. So this is not a question of option. There is no option. And there is only one way. That is hearing from the lotus mouth of the pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada, period. Not these other people. Nowadays, they're marching around speaking. You can go on social media, the nightmare of social media, and hear and see practically all the deviant philosophies that are being propagated, even by our God brothers and their so-called own disciplic successions, like this guy Keshava Swami in England. If you see his speeches, I write, where did you make this up? Who manufactured this? Who do you think you are? Yaśodā-nandana, maybe you could give us the last few comments before we move to the chanting of Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I want to make a brief comment upon what Dr. Ron said from Oroville, California. Prabhupada had a unique ability to simplify the complex teachings that are found in the Sanskrit and Bengali literatures of India and all these very complex commentaries of these acharyas. I had the opportunity one time in 1977 of watching Prabhupada translate at night. And he had this big book, which is about 12, 14 inches thick, that was published in India, with all the Sanskrit commentaries of the great Vaishnavacharyas. And Prabhupada is looking at all this, and it requires a lot of scholarly ability to be able to understand the language, but also the devotional ability to take out the essence of these commentaries and bring it in a very practical, sensible, easy to understand way so that people like us can understand this and put it into practice. Because Krishna consciousness and the process of bhakti was in India for millennia, for thousands of years. It was not until Srila Prabhupada came to America in 1965 and started to demonstrate how to practically do this with the chanting, with the cooking of bhoga, prasadam, with the chanting in the streets, writing his books, everything gradually became manifested to the point that people could actually practice this even in a very simple way. So this is what Bhaktivedanta is doing in Oroville, California, what goes on in Hamilton, what Krishna Katha Prabhu is doing in San Diego, and many other devotees. They're taking this knowledge that Prabhupada has given, applying it and practicing it as per his divine grace's instruction. I think our good friend Neil Sharma Prabhu has some further comment. You may want to allow him to speak.
Okay, yeah, but we're going to wind up the program. Go ahead, Nilesh. One comment, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on what Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu said about the Gujaratis and their Krishna consciousness. The
Yes.
reason why the Gujaratis are so close to Krishna consciousness is because Vallabhacharya, who is a part of the Pushti Marg, he started his own Pushti Marg, which is a part of actually the Rudra Sampradaya, has about 84 sites, what we call as Baitaks, where he had given sermons in different places of Gujarat. So, and for them, for the Gujaratis, I'm one of them. The main thrust is Vatsalya Bhav. So they serve Krishna in the form of a parent. And so they serve Krishna, the baby Krishna, with the form of Laddu in his hand. We call him the Laddu Gopal. So the reason is because of Vallabhacharya, who has established it so strongly. And if you see, a lot of folk music also comes in the form of Krishna bhajans in the Gujarati tradition. So just as a little side note. Hare Krishna.
Very nice.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Nice. We're going to move forward with the winding up of the program, and thank you everyone for attending. We really appreciate it. It is blissful. Somehow or other, in the midst of all of this explanation, there is a bliss here of truth. When truth is spoken, the heart of the devotee feels joyful. And this is our purpose. We don't want to depress people by explaining about how bad the material world is. It's simply to expose the reality so that we can march forward every day with the chanting of our rounds, with the offering of prasadam, with chanting and dancing. Actually, our movement is a movement of chanters and dancers. And this is unfortunately not available to us much, unless we do it in our own houses and with people that we know. But it is our hope that we can continue to expand the chanting and dancing and feasting amongst other people. This was the real message of Krishna consciousness back in the 70s, that everything was focused on chanting, dancing, and feasting, and hearing the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. And there was hope. There was hope there. There was ecstasy that there was a better place for us to be. And it's not in this world of confusion, delusion, and war. This material world is ready to explode. There's danger at every step. So take shelter of Krishna consciousness, everyone, and thank you very much. And we'll see you tomorrow for Srimad Bhagavatam class. Yes, that's very ecstatic that we've got these 3 programs. It's not a lot. Some people say, well, do it every day. We are going to be launching a 24-hour streaming platform of Krishna conscious information of Prabhupada, our classes, the bhajans, the kirtans. That's coming up this year. That's a plan of ours. And you'll be able to click it on at your house because we're all connected these days with our telephones and our other technology devices. And we want to take advantage of that and dovetail it to give everyone a facility to become enlightened, get out of this state of this comatose state of confusion that is a result of constantly being inundated by the activities of Maya. It's a war against Maya, and we're fighting it. Thank you, everyone. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Let's go to the chanting of Hare Krishna, Rupa Goswami Prabhu at 2 minutes and 54 seconds. And then after that, we'll finish up with our offering of obeisances. Haribo.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desired trees, and are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Thanks everybody for participating in these lively discussions. Thank Vishwakarma Prabhu in Hamilton, Ontario. We have Bhakta Ron in Oroville, California, Krishna Kata in San Diego, and our good friend Neil Sharma in Florida, either Fort Lauderdale or Miami, wherever he is. And everybody participating in the program, please join us. Oh, and Andabaya in North Carolina, Cantadas in Trinidad, Michael Dillon in Norton, California. So everybody, please come back tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock a.m. Pacific Standard Time for a Srimad Bhagavatam discussion, the continuation of the discussion between Narada Muni and Vyasadeva. Very important topics coming up tomorrow morning. Everybody, thank you very much, and all glories to His Divine Grace and His sublime teachings. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,